Our students, Brian Proctor, the art teacher, back again with another video. So today I want to look at shadowing the figure. Now, if you didn't know, I taught myself to draw. When I was young, I loved comic books. I just fell in love with comic books. And I used to do a lot of tracing, out of the books. And that was kind of like my first introduction to doing it. But after I stopped tracing, I tried to start drawing by myself. Everything was still off. So later on in life, I started looking at the body as shapes. I just started looking at everything as shapes. And then I took those shapes and then I put those shapes together. And then I learned how to draw from there. So we're going to do shading the body or shading the figure. That's what we're working on today. Now, there are a lot of other videos out there that can tell you about shading, but they always come at you from I'm a professional, I've been doing this for years, and this is how you shade or shadow or add light and shadow. And, a lot of us out there don't really know how to draw. So I always come to you from a beginner's standpoint. And every time I think of something, I try to break it down to its very basic beginning and then show it to you guys. And none of my videos are scripted. I have these ideas and I said, you know what, that'd be a good lesson. Let me show it to you guys. And then now, I do that. I just turn my camera on and I start drawing and I come up with what I come up with. So let's work on some shading the figure or adding shadow to the figure. Now, as I say, first of all, when I started, I tried to draw stuff. I look at stuff and I would try to draw. Oh, I got to get this right. I got to get there. And it just never really worked out right. But then I was like, why is it that I couldn't get these things to work out right? So I started, and let's just take this figure since it's laying here. I started looking at stuff and I started saying, this is shaped kind of like this, and this is shaped like this, and this is shaped like this, and this is a piece of the shape like this. And so I started drawing the shapes as best I could, especially in perspective. That was a whole nother thing, perspective. And then I started adding these shapes together, as rough as they may have been, and then just chopping it off, like smoothing it off a little bit, and adding some points and some curves. And then I eventually learned how to draw, and it was just by doing over and over and over. You can't draw like once a week. You get really rusty. And I think because I was drawing for a lot of people's comic books, I was doing their books for free. If they had a story, I was doing it for free. Might as well just finish drawing this, whatever this is going to be. And then that gave me a lot of practice because I was too afraid to do my own. I didn't want to mess up my own book or my own story. So I did people's stories and books for nothing because I didn't really put my heart into it. And that gave me a lot of practice and just drawing because, it was not something that I was going to, take home and show to mama. So that's how I learned to draw. It's just over and over and over and over. And I made mistakes, but then, I corrected those mistakes. And from there, you learn how to draw. So that is the secret to drawing. It's just doing it over and over. A lot of people will draw something and get mad and then that ball it and throw it away. And I quit, I give up. So you will never, ever, ever. If you're that type of person, then, go get a job at McDonald's or Burger King. They're paying $15. So, you won't become an artist because you will fail over and over and over and things won't look right. But if you're just drawing like every day, constantly, that's why I love comic books, then you'll eventually get it. Okay, so enough of my knowledge and wisdom. Let's get on with the thing. So we have three basic shapes. You have your square, your circle, triangle, four basic shapes. Rectangle, which is just a square just stretched out. Okay, these are your basic shapes. Out of these shapes, you draw any and everything. Okay, you might have to add some shapes to another shape to change that. You might, whatever that would be. I think this could be a caution sign or one of those yellow signs like hazard or whatever. Chop some lines off here. You have a stop sign. So once you master these three shapes, then you got it. There's nothing you cannot draw, but you got to learn perspective. So let's look at these three shapes and let's put them into like cubes and so forth. And a cylinder, I forgot about this. If you take this and you turn it around, stretch it out, you will have a cylinder. And this is probably one of the most important shapes that you're going to do when you do the body, when you use the body. So let's draw these shapes out and let's start throwing some light on them. Flip that paper over, Brian. You're not that rich. you can afford to keep doing this, throwing away paper. So we have this. Let's say we have the triangle. Let's do the triangle like this. And let's do a square, rectangle kind of thing. Well, it's more of a box. Box would represent the rectangle and the circle. Now you have these shapes. Now all of these shapes can pretty much make a body, and it can pretty much make the body. I would pull out my book, but I don't want to feel like getting up and seeing it. So you have these shapes. Now light has got to come somewhere and hit these shapes from whatever direction you choose. Light has to come somewhere, and just because everybody puts it from on the left side, let's just put it on the left side. So of course it's going to hit here, and because this thing is round, light is going to hit here, and it's not going to go all the way to the back. It's going to kind of like fade out, or probably do like that. It'll fade out from the back. And take this off just because it looks bad. It'll fade out, and this will be darkest, and it'll fade. It'll start brightening up as it goes to the front, and that's going to happen with everything except something that has a square or sharp edge to it. If it's round, it's going to do that. So let's just do this. Say this is the light hitting it. This is going to be dark here, and that light is going to take that shape of this thing. So from the back, I mean, realistically, if I was doing shading, I could do like this dark, but you can't shade in comics. So this is going to be my next step that I'm going to talk about. You know, and then you can't shade. It's just like black, one solid color. And because you have that, you won't get this gradation from dark to lighter to you know, almost white. This is why they'll do this, add these, this feathering. It kind of tells you, I'm sorry, there's numbers right here. There's my timers like right here. You can't see it, but I can see it, and it's covering up the ball. This is why they do this. You see these lines, and that kind of indicates that it's now going into a darker shade. So they'll do this. Some of them will be longer, some of them will be shorter, because it could be going to, it's closer to the light than this. So, and that's why they do that. You know, some people, you know, get fancy, and then they'll kind of like hatch it, do the cross hatch to it. And that's the professional people, but we're not doing that. We're doing the basics. Because when you shade anything, you just want to use your basic shape. So again, if I'm shading this, we'll do this. Don't worry about that. That's going to come much later. And you'll see later. So if this light was hitting this, it would be the same thing. This part would be light. This part would be dark. And then even around here, maybe somewhere like this. You don't want to hatch or anything like that. That would be more flat, though. This whole thing is like kind of crooked shape. So let's just say this box is going to hit this. Light is going to hit this. It's going to be dark on this side, or a type of shadow on that side. Same thing with the pyramid. Light hits it from this side. This side would be darker. If light is hitting it from that front, this side will be darker. This side will have a lighter hue, and the other side would be white. So anytime you draw one of these shapes, you have to know how that shadow is going to wrap around, or that darkness is going to wrap around that shape. If it's flat, it's going to be a flat. If it's round, it's going to take the contour of whatever it is, however round it is. Now, the thing with the body is, I'm trying to think of some other shape. We have a shape, this shape, before I go with the body. The thing with the body is, now let's draw a body. Remember these shapes, remember, because this, once you get this down, the rest is pretty simple. So let's do this here. And you notice my shapes, I always do my same shapes, and that makes the body. Oval, straight line. This could be a upside down house as well, where your collarbone meets. Oval, rectangle, I make it kind of rounded, upside down house, or home plate if you're a baseball fan. Circle, circle. This could be a another cone like that. So we're going to do this oval, but we're going to keep this in a cone shape. Cone shape, oval shape. Oval, oval. See, when I start naming these shapes and these parts, the body parts and so forth, then it really kind of gets to me. It just kind of gets to me. My brain is like, what? All right, so we have that, and let's just do the little hand here. Let's do the little hand. There. Now, this is no different from this. All right, so let's just say we have my light this way. There. Okay, we've got that ball. Again, light's coming from here. We've got that cylinder. Light is coming from here. That ball, that cylinder. Again, light is coming from here. Now, it might be darker down here than here, but we'll get into that later. But for now, we are using the same technique. So let's do this. Let's say this. You want to do it like that? Well, let's do it like that. All right, so the light's going to be here. So this is around. This is kind of like this. The shape that I have here is kind of like this. And this is coming around, and this is where the head is. It's going to kind of represent the shape. So basically, let's not even do that. Let's just, before we even add that to it, let's get back to the basic. That's the oval. So light is here. Light is going to be around here. Because I want you to see how basic it is going to be when you start adding shadow to the figure. So because the arm is behind here, we can do this. We can probably have a little more than this because this is blocking the arm around here and around here again. Same thing here. Light is going to be down here, so this is going to be shadow. That circle, and this again here. It's okay, this again. Now you can have some we're not even going to get into the rim light or reflective light. If you just take your figure and you do your basic light like this, you will be good. So we want always lights coming here, so we're going to have that chin. It's going to be lit, and the side of the face is going to be lit, or dark. So lights here, it's going to be like here, down like that. So if you follow the contours to your shapes, then you got half of it beat already. Now, when you start adding bumps and lumps to that, that's a whole different story. But if you have this as you go, no matter wherever the light is, I'll do another one real quick. Okay, gotta keep my shapes, gotta keep it. I was gonna draw a square guy, but I can't do that because it won't work. Tuna can, upside down house. If you use these shapes all the time, you got it going on. You got it going on. And a hand. So let's just say my light is coming up here. He's a performer. He's on stage. He's doing his little dance routine. So again, one side is going to be lit. The other side is going to be dark. So let's start with this right here. Let's start with this. And a lot of times it depends on how bright your light is as well. And that's going to determine how far out the shadow is going to go. If this was like a big old tier light thing right there, the shadow would probably be about like this. It would be really sharp shadow, but because there's so much light, you wouldn't get that much shadow because the thing is lighting the devil out of it. Okay, so here, over here, and because this is not really round, you have to know those shapes. You won't get too much if the light was here, and I'm assuming, like I said, if the guy's on stage and there's a light right here, he's gonna get a lot of light. This is round-ish, but it's not round, so the shadow's not gonna be here, it's gonna be more over here. You're gonna get, because that leg is up, you're gonna get shadow over here. And as I said, it's got to determine how much light is shining on that character here. And then this, so light's gonna go back here. Light is on the top, shadow's on the top. Okay, so this is round, so the light's gonna be here, so this is gonna be right there. And then light is gonna be here, so you're gonna get some shadow over here. By remembering your shapes and where, how they cast a shadow from their shapes. So light would be like this. So again, since that's closest to the light and we're not really getting into like details like that, it would be like that. Now, I was gonna put shadow on the leg with that arm, the light would have to come down on that arm to cast a shadow on that leg. So no matter no matter where you place the light, it's going to have that same effect on that shape, except that shape is going to just light differently, or the shadow is going to be replaced somewhere on that shape. Oh, we had this one here. So, but it will always be the same. So if you're drawing your characters and you continue to just do this, thinking about how much light I have, then you will always have a good start to shading your character. Now, as I was saying, that there's with the character, there's always planes, planes, as in a plane like this and a plane like that and a plane like that. Planes is not airplanes, but different. What is the meaning of a plane? Let's use this mouse. This mouse, if I turn it to the side, you'll see this is sloped here, but it drops down here and it sucks in there. Those are the kind of planes that I'm talking about. Different, like this is a plane, this is a different plane, and that. So let's take a look at this guy real quick and see. I have a black figure, which may show up better with light and shadow, and I'll get that in a second. But your first step is you have your character, and just remember the shapes. Before you try to do some, I'm gonna do this and make that look good and add some of this, get your basic shape first. Always, even a professional will tell you, get your shapes first. Your shadow, your dark shapes first, okay? So then you can, after that, you can say something like, I want since the light is coming this way, and I want to kind of give it some feathering to make it come out that way. And I want to feather, this. Did I have the, yeah, I have feather this going toward the light. But you don't want to feather everything, just parts of it. And I think the parts that are mainly closest to the light, like down here, I wouldn't do that. I would, if this is going to be darker, I would do something like this. I would just bring that all the way out and then feather it up like that, because this is dark. This is how you would determine your shadow, that it's still lit but it's in shadow, and then you can actually do like that to make it darker using just black and white. All right, let's go back to this. Now, as I said, the body has like lumps and bumps and dips and so forth in it. So if I took a bump, this is a bump on top of it. So, and then I put the light, the same light is coming on here, it would be kind of like this, and maybe cast a bit of a shadow from that. If I took and put a couple points on here, the light is coming from there, so it's going to be back here, and then could be casting a shadow here. As I said, it depends on how much light is there determines how hard a shadow or how hard a shadow you're gonna have. Let's say I have a cut, or that would be like more of a mountain. This would be more like a valley in here. I'm trying to figure out how would I do that? Just a cut that goes like down. So if the light is coming this way and that's a cut, like you just scoop something out of it, this would all be in shadow right here because that's going down. You know, if you wanted to get crazy, you could do this darker, and then you have your lines. Let me use a pencil because it's so much blue. But you get your shape first, and then something like that, because the light is hitting and going down and getting darker as it increases. So when you draw the body, the whole thing is basically like that. Let's just use this guy here. Here's my chest. Here is my abs. Let's take the abs all the way down. Let's go with the leg muscles. Let's get the V right here. Curves around, same thing there. And let's take one of these arms and do an actual arm. Just the end of it anyway. So you're still going to have this ball right here, right? So you already had your basic solid light shape. So you're going to add to it. This thing is still going to be there, but there's this little dip right here to separate the bicep and tricep. But you still have your light here. You curve it around because this thing is round. It is an oval. It is an oval, and your light is going to curve around that oval. So you have that dip just like this. You have that little dip in there. Determines you have that little bit of shadow. It depends on how, again, close the light is. That would determine how much shadow you want to add to this here. Because I've seen a lot of people, professional artists, they take a little muscle and then add just like so much shadow to it. It looks really good, you know, but I can't say that I can do it. I can, but I don't, because I don't. Same thing here. You have these lines here. I don't know what these muscles call. And then you can add some shadow to that because this is round like this. This one, let's do the arm. And then the three shapes make the arm. Circle, oval, cone. Okay, chop it off. Here's my hand. All right, so this is my delt. This is my bicep. Here, this is my tricep. Right here. Goes to the elbow, and this is, I don't know what that shape is called. And you have these muscles right here. You can see that? Good. All right, so, you know, it's coming. Let's use red. This is a circle. This is 1, 2, but it goes down and then it comes back up. This goes around. No, that's sorry. It's going to go around, down, cross, and back over. So as long as you know how these lines go, it makes it easy for you to throw some shadow. So because the light is coming this way, you got that ball again. So we start out with that. Now, if I wanted to, and this is your first, don't try to jump to the next step until you get the first step doing. I'm just showing you because I don't really want to leave it out. Now, if I want to add some feathering, remember where it goes. It's going to go like this. And again, the one that's closest to the edge part that's closest to the light is going to show the less, you have less distance coming from that. Okay, so even if I had like, which you have these separations here and here, you can have a thin one like that, or you can have a, you know, really thicker shadow in it, in the separations that come, and the separations don't look like that, but I'm just saying. So again, we have this. We know that one is a round cylinder. So your basic solid shape, that's what I should be saying, is going to be like this. Now this goes around and it goes down in. So You're going to have shadow on this side here because this is the side facing or not facing the light. So you're going to have it here. It's going to come up here. So when it comes up, you can do this again. Remember, you're going to follow the curved lines, because when I first started trying to do this, nobody really showed me. Nobody told. Every line that I had would go like this. If I did some I'll use the blue side. Every time I did a hatching, everything would just go the same way. Everything would go the same way. And I would look at theirs and I would say, how is it mine doesn't look like this? I mean, I'm doing this the same way. And it wouldn't necessarily go toward the light. It would just all go the same way. It wouldn't curve, so I really never followed that. I never followed suit on learning how to do that. This is one reason why you don't see me do a lot of shadow, because it was something that I learned late, and now I'm not doing it because I want you to be able to put your own shadow in. So basically, like I said, we're going around, following that contour, and the same thing could be going for here. But again, you don't want to put it on everything because you already have your solids. And that's good enough. So where's the light? The light's coming from here. It's coming down. So let's just put it here. Put it here. This is my solid. Again, the light is going to be under, so I'm going to put it like right around here, and then under these here. So that's my light. So if I have to, I can just, I'm sorry, I got to follow that again. Follow the way around like that. Can you see that? Hopefully you can see that. I should be doing it in ink, but I'm not. And then the same thing. You can be going like that. Again, I would not do this for every dark area that I have. And then line weight helps a lot. It really helps a lot. And let me use my pencil. Now, true line weight, the furthest from the light is going to be dark. Closest to the light is going to be thin. So I do the opposite. I just do the opposite. I just like that. So this is going to be thicker down here, and it's going to get thinner. So you're going to have really dark here. It's going to be thin here. It's going to be thicker here again. As it comes up, it's going to be thin, and you can have thick coming around there. You can see that better, and I can't see that because the glare of my pencil. I tend to do it the other way. I just kind of like wherever my high point is, I'll make it a little thicker. That's just me. That's just, if you look at any of my drawings, you'll see that. And he's like, why? I don't know. It just looks better for me. So, where was I? Yeah. All right, so I'm pulling out my dusty figure. And, I mean, these things, I buy these things and they just sit. And I don't know if you can see the amount of dust. That just, you can see that. Look at his head. Just the amount of dust that's just on these things, because I don't use them. Give them away. No, I'm not giving them away, but yeah, they sit there until I need them. And once you learn to figure, you don't need them. And that's one thing you should not do, is just keep collecting stuff, like buying this person's book and that person's book and that person. Get one book that's going to teach everything. That's my 360 book. And then you can learn to draw from there. So let's kind of, God, this is stiff, because I never really used this guy. I bought him and I just posed him and I just set him up there. I changed his hand. And other than that, I never really used him. Anyway, when Jim Lee used to do the X-Men and they had they reversed the light, and I was like, how did they do that? That was so frustrating. They just reversed it. It was like the dark was light and the light was dark, and I could never figure that out. So using this guy, let's see if I can do this lamp here. Is that gonna mess up? I think it's messing up. Let's see if we can get back to basic. I need a light source. That is the problem. Let's try this little guy here. Try this light here. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. So as best we can, I don't know why my computer's, what are you doing? Okay, sorry. You'll see, bring it in, bring it in. how the light is hitting. And because like I'm noticing right here in this ab, right here in the ab, you see how dark that is because it's going down. The light is hitting around here. And because this is round 2, it goes up and then it fades out. It hits here, it goes up and it fades out. Like I said, the bicep, you can see his the little striation in there if you can see it. But because of the shape, this is a solid black right here. You have a line of white right here, or lighter, solid black right there. There is no hatching or no feathering in this figure, but it still looks good if you follow this light technique, light and dark technique. This is dark on this side. You got the light coming running down here. Because this is kind of flat, you're going to get like a flat, just a bright light here. I mean, in this there's a couple lumps. And then, of course, down here, you got all of this black. This doesn't really reflect as good as I wanted to, but you can kind of understand. The top of his head is all black, and then it curves around here. And because of the nose and the lip, you get a little bit of shape, contour from that light. So, proving what I'm saying. And again, none of these things are scripted. Like I said, I have these ideas. It just comes to me, and then I'm like, okay, you know, that make a good video. So, yeah. Where was I? All right, remembering. Let's do this. This dips in because your abs are from the side. They are round like this. They're kind of, you know, round like that. They're rounded. So, of course, you know, anything that these lines like that, that's going to be black. And then depending on the angle of the light, this is going to be dark here. It's going to be dark on this side, light on this side, dark on this side. You can bring it out on that side. And because they do have this kind of like roundness, the bottom will have more darkness than the top if the light is coming down. But this light is coming over here, so we're going to do this shadow from this side. This is going to be more lit. And we have shadow on that side, same thing here. Shadow on that side, going here, shadow on that side. And it all depends on how much light we're talking about. So again, the light is right here, the strongest right here. So we can actually, instead of black, this is when you would start to do more of the hatching here, or the feathering, going around the body, or around that chest. And that shows that there's light, but there's a little bit of shadow here. Same thing here if I wanted to, but you don't, please don't just every inch of it start doing that, because you'll overdo it. You will overkill it. There's going to be some light because of that. There's still going to be some shadow under here. And you have this part here, your rib cage, some shadow under there. This would be, have a little thin line. And remember, you have your thin lines and your thick lines, as in this could be really thick because it's deep. It's a deep cut. And this could be just really thin without any hatching or feathering or anything like that coming from it. Now, one thing you can do is this guy here. So let's just say I started, now I got dust all over my shirt. Let's just do this. This could be wrong, but I'm just going to do it anyway. But it's an explanation. I have my shadow here. It is wrong, but it's an explanation. And I wanted it to continue down, but I didn't want it so solid. That's when you can do this and then fade out with it from thick to thin, and you fade out with it. I'm trying to think, what would I do that on? Let's just say this bicep. I'll give you an example for the bicep. So here is my light right here, but I didn't want it to stop there. I wanted to kind of like more fade out. So I will do this until it kind of fades out. Can you see that on there? So let's do this. So I'm gonna do this, and I stopped it right here. But the key to this is your solid shape. Always get your solid shapes first. Get all that solid shape first, then you can add your feathering. So then I would do something like this. And because it's going to go around like this is another thing that I wanted to say. Draw out, if you're going to do any of this feathering or hatching, draw out where you want that line to stop, where you want those lines to stop. So I'm going to do this, up, like that. Now I can have these thicker, to go thinner. I can have them close together to kind of close together to make them space apart more. Like that. That adds another good effect. And of course you take this off because you didn't really want that. That's just, you just didn't want the line to go any further than that. And if need be, I'll have this, and that fades in. But you have to remember your shape, and it's got to go around the shape. But again, the whole thing is get your solids first. Get your solids first. Once you get your solids, then you can try. I would say 3 or 4 drawings, and then do your solids, just all solids before you try to put that dessert on your plate and do all of this. And just see what that looks like. If you have a photocopier, draw a nice picture and then photocopy. If not, you can do this. You can pull out that 360 book that I encourage you to buy, because there's a lot of drawings in there for you to practice on. A lot of drawings for you to practice on. Let's take this cat, for instance, here. And I think my next one will be another shadow shading. I'm going to use this book, and let's say, get your solids first. So my light, let's just say, well, you put your light wherever, but most times people put light, coming down from the sun. So of course this is going to be round, depending on how much light it is. I'm not going to like really brighten this guy. He's going to have very small light, very small solids of shadow. And then around here, and I'll thin that out there. Of course, under here, because of the arm. There, can you see that? Good, 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 good. This is his oval shape here. That's going to be there. This is a dip right here. This neck is round. See, that's the thing. Don't get fooled by all these extra lines. You know that this neck, the neck is usually like this. This is why I want to say, this is why I'm saying, use your solids first. This neck is like this, and this side is going to be dark. Okay, now it just happens that I have some neck muscles in there, and this is going to go around and then dip down. And then you can add, after you get all your solids, then you can add just a little bit more deeper shadow in that, because it dips down. And somebody said, your videos are too long. Why are they always so long? And I think I know my comment was, if you go to school and every class is 10 minutes long, what can you learn? So I'm not trying to make these videos long. I'm just trying to get you guys to get some knowledge in your head. So like I said, this neck here, this side is going to be shadowed. So I'm going to shadow this whole piece like this. Get my solids. Then later on, maybe I want to do some feathering coming from that neck. I know you can't see that because it's very light. Very light. Let's see if I can see it you can see it in the book. Very light. Yeah, so solid shapes first. Solid shape, solid shape, solid shape, solid shape, solid shape. Solid shapes for the abs, solid shape, solid shape, solid shape right here. Light, the shadow is going to be here because of the chest. And it's in, and then I may want to do something like that. But get your solids first. Get your solids first. In fact, don't even practice your hatching. Don't, just get your solids and then see what that looks like. And maybe I will just shade the devil out of this guy next week. All right, I had to cut my camera off for a second, just a split second, because it won't let me print. It won't let me retrieve videos that are too long. For some strange reason, iPhone, I didn't buy it for myself. My daughter bought me an iPhone. Too much trouble. Yes, I said too much trouble. There goes your iPhone sponsorship, Brian. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, and like I said, this book is great. It erases, it holds out. It's a good book. It's a good book. A lot of different pictures, a lot of teaching. And each one of these, if you did not know, each one of these is one of my videos on my YouTube channel. So you just go onto my channel and you put, the ultimate drawing lesson, and type it in and it'll show up. And this is the finished product of that lesson. And this is action pose position of the week 24. Type that in, get all these lessons. You'll know how to draw these, and then you'll have the actual drawing with it. And I'm working on the next book for the, I call it season 2 book. But the thing is, I just don't want to give you like these, okay, here's the drawing, you flip it here. I want to give you a little something else to actually show you how to draw this, even though you can look at the video. Just in the book, it'll show you like maybe the pieces that you put together or something. I'm trying to figure that out. I talked about that in my last video. So hopefully you got it. This was, like I said, this was in my head, and I just wanted to get it out for you people. And this is why my video is so long, because I always keep going over it again. Just think about your basic shapes first. Think about your basic shapes first and how light would affect it. And then once you get that, get all your solids in, then if there's another shape to it or a lump or whatever on it, you can shadow that too as well. And if you want your shadow to fade out or fade in, then you can hatch it or feather it going around the curve, because this is a ball. It's not straight. It's not straight like that. That wouldn't work. It kind of would work if it's straight at you, but it doesn't work. So, you know, don't do that. Yeah, all right. I'll go over this thing again and again and kill time. So that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you learned something. If you do, leave a comment, thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe, and then go out and get your friend and make him or her subscribe as well to get me up to, what, I got 20,000. We're going for 50,000. I'm not going 30 or 40, 50. We got 50,000. All right, so that's it. Keep drawing. Remember, if you're not having fun doing it, it's not fun to do. It's a t-shirt coming soon. All right, catch you guys later.